Friday, and you know what that means. The Hudson Media Group studio proudly brings to you the latest edition of Talking Politics. And yes, I am the generational talent in Garden State Media, and certainly the hero you need right now, folks, as the establishment media here in New Jersey continues to lie to you. Guess who will not? That's right. It's me, Fernando Uribe. Happy October, everyone, as we are moving along here during this election season. And of course, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And a quick special comment later during the broadcast about why that's so significant to yours truly. But first, there's a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Folks, it is election season, and without a doubt, the gubernatorial race is heating up with less than 30 days to go. And without a doubt, Rebecca Sherrill, the Democrat Party nominee, and Jack Ciarelli, the Republican Party nominee, have been at each other's throats. Now, it depends what poll you read. This race seems to be neck and neck, which is true. There is a lack of enthusiasm for Rebecca Sherrill across the state, especially with a lot of Democrat Party establishment operatives. And of course, based on the win by President Trump last November, there's a certain level of enthusiasm for Jack Ciarelli. As we all know, President Trump came within 4 points of winning New Jersey's 14 electoral votes last November, which would have happened for the first time since 1988 when George H.W. Bush was the last Republican to win electoral votes here in the state of New Jersey. So without a doubt, President Trump was very popular last year, and he still remains pretty popular in a lot of sectors throughout the state of New Jersey. Not just in Ocean and Monmouth County, but we saw it last year in Hudson County. He won municipalities like Bayonne, Secaucus, and made considerable strides in narrowing the margins for Democrats in municipalities like Union City, West New York, North Bergen, as well as in Kearney. Now, certainly, folks, Jersey City and Hoboken were still very solidly blue, but again, Republicans made some inroads. We also saw that within the last 5 years, Democrats used to have a 1.2 million advantage when it came to registered voters. That has now shrunk to a little under 800,000. Folks, Republicans are making some inroads here in New Jersey. So whether it's operatives and content creators like Scott Pressler, Mike Crispy, and others, Republicans and conservatives have a lot of momentum going into Election Day. And that certainly has been the case with Jack Ciarelli. Don't take my word for it, folks. Go on to social media. He's been up and down the state throughout all 21 counties in some of the bluest areas in New Jersey, whether it's Essex County, whether it's Camden County, Gloucester County, and even this past week in Hudson County. So a special shout out to John Highness, fellow member of the Pinnacle here in Hudson County, a Rutgers alumnus, and the editor of the Hudson County View for his reporting on this story, which has some layers to it. Now, apparently, Jack Ciarelli visited Roomba in downtown Jersey City, which is owned by my good friend Alan Lopez, a sponsor of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. More on that later. Now, Ciarelli was in Hudson County, along with Hudson County GOP Chairman Jose Arango and the current sheriff, Frank Scolari. And Republican gubernatorial nominee Jack Ciarelli joined a capacity crowd at Roomba Cubana in Jersey City. Ciarelli said, quote, "Who says there's no Republicans in Hudson County?" in front of a very enthusiastic crowd in Hamilton Park in downtown Jersey City. I don't know, yesterday we were in North Bergen for the Hispanic Day Parade, and we saw an awful lot of Republicans. We saw a lot of Democrats who came out who hold elected office who endorsed my candidacy for governor. This past Sunday at Cuomo's and Sons' famous deli in North Bergen, Ciarelli secured the support of North Bergen Public Safety Commissioner Alan Pasquale, West New York Commissioner Marcus Arroyo, and former West New York Mayor Sal Vega, along with ex-Commissioner Alberto Rodriguez and former State Assemblywoman Angelica Jimenez. And the endorsement clearly caught the attention of Hudson County Democrat Organization Chair Greg Guy, who yesterday said U.S. Representative Rebecca Sherrill has wide support in the county and the recent Ciarelli endorsement are hollow. Her opponent was endorsed by the same Hudson County Dinos, whose greatest hits include the failed candidacy of Frank Scolari. In fact, I'm not even sure if all those people even still identify as Democrats or even Hudson County residents, he said in a statement. Just like MAGA Frank Scolari's endorsement, these latest ones come with no money, no ground game, and no credibility. Kind of interesting for County Chair Craig Guy to say that, to call Frank Scolari a MAGA fan when Frank Scolari has been as loyal a Democrat as he's ever been for the last 20 years, but interesting. Similarly, there were about 24 protesters outside the venue with signs that read, Things such as Stop MAGA Healthcare Cuts and Jack defends Trump defunds healthcare. Nonetheless, Hudson County Republicans and Chiarelli campaigns were clearly energized and seemed to be looking forward to a big win on November the 4th, which would be the first Republican governor to get elected in New Jersey since 2013. Now, you know who I really feel bad for? Those people protesting outside. You know why? Because in 28 days, we're going to win. That's why. Quote, nobody wants 4 more years of Governor Phil Murphy's policies, which is true, folks. The highest property taxes in the country, an inflated budget, as large as maybe some of the most recent Victoria's Secret models that you've seen parading lingerie during some of the fashion shows. All right? Rebecca Sherrill is Murphy 2.0. We're not going to let that happen. We're going to win. You know, she's got the same problem Corzine and Murphy had. They brought John Corzine here from Illinois. Didn't work out so well for him, did it? They brought Phil Murphy here from Massachusetts, and that hasn't worked out well either. Rebecca Sherrill's not from New Jersey. I got a real simple idea. How about we elect a Jersey guy? Some of the more poignant quotes from Jack Chiarelli at Rumba Cubana. Now, polling has the heavily anticipated contest just one of the 2 gubernatorial races in the entire country this year in single digits, with Chiarelli within the margin of error in recent polls, though Sherrill is still favored at the moment, but very slightly. Now, what's interesting, folks, is not so much the fact that Republicans are energized in Hudson County and even throughout all 21 counties in New Jersey. But we've seen a lot of establishment Democrats staying home or being very quiet during this election cycle. Has anyone seen State Senate President Nick Scutari? Haven't seen him out there campaigning for Rebecca Sherrill. Has anyone seen Speaker of the Assembly Craig Coughlin? He's been notoriously quiet. Have you seen State Senators Joe Cryan or others avidly campaigning for Rebecca Sherrill? No, not really. State Senator Joe Cryan is out there campaigning, or at least on a, I guess, amicable, friendly tour with Republican state senators. So it kind of makes you wonder, is there real enthusiasm for Rebecca Sherrill? Now, folks, listen, without a doubt, there's an enthusiasm void for her. She hasn't run a very good campaign. Now, mind you, going into the primary this year, she had to tough it out against some very tough progressives, such as Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, Newark Mayor Ross Baraka, NGA President Sean Spiller, as well as fellow member of the House of Representatives Josh Gottheimer, along with former State Senate President Steve Sweeney. Now, during that primary, she made a point to seem like she's more in the middle, as opposed to some of the far-left progressives that were running during the primary, such as Steve Fulop and Ross Baraka, as well as Sean Spiller. But since winning the primary, Rebecca Sherrill has gone far left. How so, you ask? Well, let me tell you how so. It seems like she has no interest in standing up for biological girls and making sure that they're safe in bathrooms and when they're changing for gym, when parents are enabling young boys to somehow believe that they're girls. But Rebecca Sherrill doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Or the idea that ICE is just trying to do its job and enforce federal immigration law by saying that she would continue to have sanctuary statehood here in New Jersey. Even so much as so that she would consider reappointing Matt Platkin for another term as Attorney General. God help us. Folks, the list goes on and on. She hasn't had a real energy plan. Somehow she hasn't addressed affordability. And for whatever reason, she seems more interested in pronouns than property taxes. That hasn't been the case with her opponent. Jack Chiarelli's been clear. New Jersey's on this fiscal cliff. This isn't sustainable, folks. So Jack Chiarelli's been resonating with the right message. He's been getting endorsements from some prominent Democrats. Former State Assemblyman Jamal Hawley, as well as the Democrat mayor of Garfield, in addition to other Democrat mayors throughout the state of New Jersey and other Democrat officials. Now, as it pertains to these Democrats in Hudson County, I'm going to tell you why these endorsements don't really mean anything. And that's not me being a hater, and I certainly don't want to perpetuate the narrative that Hudson County Executive and Democrat Party Chair here in Hudson County, Craig Guy, wants to espouse. I wouldn't necessarily call Nick Sacco, Alan Pasquale, Sal Vega, Angelica Jimenez Dinos. And if you're not sure what that acronym stands for, folks, it's Democrats in name only. they've been pretty solid Democrats, folks, for as long as I can remember. If you remember, Angelica Jimenez was one of those state assemblywomen that felt it was a good idea to give driver's licenses to illegals here in New Jersey. Angelica Jimenez was more than happy to vote for bloated budgets here in New Jersey, to coddle illegals, to add unnecessary spending to the state budget. Okay? Sal Vega was as solid a Democrat as has ever been in Hudson County politics. So the idea that these are Dinos, Craig, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, that's just not true. But the reason I think that these endorsements don't really move the needle is that these people aren't relevant, folks. Now, there's a reason why Union City Mayor and State Senator Brian Stack has kind of sat on the sidelines during this election season. Yes, he was adamant and he was not shy about making sure that Stephen Fulop did not win the Democrat Party primary to be the nominee for governor. As we all know, there's still some serious bad blood between Stephen Fulop and Brian Stack going back to 2018. Now, having said that, since June 11th, folks, Brian Stack's been pretty much on the sidelines here. Yes, he ran one mailer, which, let's be honest, he's going to do because he's going to push column A candidates. So that shouldn't surprise anybody. The idea that his sheriff candidate, Bayonne Mayor Jimmy Davis, the incumbent assemblyman, Gabriel Rodriguez, and assembly candidate, Larry Weinstein, are all on his ticket. He also pushed for Rebecca Sherrill during the primary. But since then, State Senator Stack has run numerous events. Was Rebecca Sherrill at the Centennial Parade on Bergen Line Avenue, celebrating the 100 years for Union City? No, she was nowhere to be found. You know how to float, though? Jack Chiarelli. You know who walked this past week during the Hispanic Day Parade? Sure, Rebecca Sherrill walked with prominent Democrats. But guess who else walked? And had quite a crowd applauding him? Jack Chiarelli. So the idea that, hey, there's been rumors that maybe State Senator Stack might endorse Jack Chiarelli. Well, that isn't the case. He's been firm in supporting his column, which he's entitled to do. But folks, the idea that endorsements from Nick Sacco or commissioners in North Bergen like Alan Pasquale or Anthony Venera are going to move the needle, that's just not true, folks. Or that endorsement from Frank Scolari, the current sheriff, that's not going to move the needle either. No disrespect to Frank. He's always been a gentleman to me. But it doesn't move the needle. Okay? Now, I get it that, hey, every vote counts. And if you can narrow the margins that Democrats usually win Hudson County by, sure, that's a smart strategy. I'm not doubting that for a second. But focus on the towns where Republicans grew in numbers last November, like Bayonne, like Kearney, like Secaucus, Weehawken, Union City, West New York, North Bergen. Yeah, President Trump made some inroads there. And sure, Kamala Harris didn't win by the margins that everyone thought she would win. But folks, these endorsements don't really move the needle. If I were Jack Chiarelli, if I were advising Jack Chiarelli, what I would tell Chris Russell and others in his circle is focus on Bergen County. Focus on Essex County. Focus on the counties that you made inroads in 4 years ago when you only lost to Phil Murphy by 3 points. Yes, we need to turn out in Monmouth and Ocean counties, no question. Those are as super red counties as you can get in New Jersey. Jack Chiarelli is making inroads in South Jersey, in Gloucester County, Cumberland County, Camden County, and even Atlantic County. That's what you should focus on. And also getting endorsements that matter. These don't matter, folks. And to add insult to injury, what makes it even worse, folks, is the fact, and we all know that, listen, he's as much of a grifter and opportunist as there is in New Jersey politics. But folks, Leonard Filipowski showing up at Rumba Cubana in downtown Jersey City was no accident. Now, of course, we all know he loves to pander. And anything he can do to stick it to State Senator Brian Stack, well, he's happy to do because he's a child. But I don't know what this accomplished. What it did accomplish, at least on the negative, is it made Jack Chiarelli look really bad. Because now you're in videos and in pictures with a professional agitator that is Leonard Filipowski. To say nothing of the fact, folks, that Leonard Filipowski continues to embarrass himself on a weekly basis. Whether it's lawsuits that are being dismissed against him because they have no merit, whether he thinks that, oh, I can print up press credentials with that other retard from whatever they're called, Exposure Report, and the other, members of the Lollipop Guild. It's the same 8-9 people online that keep supporting his childish behavior. Somehow Leonard thinks that, oh, yeah, I can print up press credentials at home because I can do that. Because the First Amendment has no limits. Well, Leonard, the First Amendment does have some limits. You do have freedom of speech. The government can't punish you for speech, but there are consequences to speech. I know it firsthand, as people have tried to cancel me for years now, to no success. But folks, here's the reality. Leonard and the other retards that supposedly endorse him or support him and just gladly clap along like a bunch of seals waiting for a piece of fish at the circus somehow think that there should be no oversight about who gets press credentials or who's considered a journalist. Here's a newsflash, folks. Here in New Jersey, there are 2 organizations that have oversight over journalism and media. That's the NJPA, the New Jersey Press Association, and the NJSJP, the New Jersey Society for Professional Journalists. Now, for a small minimal fee, folks, you can renew your press credentials like every other credible journalist has to do. So it's interesting, Leonard, because since you're fixated on the Constitution and the First Amendment, well, listen, as an avid supporter of the Second Amendment, as an avid practitioner and responsible gun owner, don't you think there should be some sort of safeguards or oversight about how I practice the Second Amendment? I mean, listen, I'm as loud as there ever is of someone about responsible gun ownership and about the Second Amendment. But I also understand the importance of oversight about making sure that, hey, if we're going to practice the Second Amendment, that we, A, register people, B, understand that there has to be oversight over people that are going to exercise the Second Amendment. Is that infringing upon my rights, Leonard? Is that infringing upon anyone else's rights? That God forbid we want some accountability or oversight in how we practice the Second Amendment? Yeah, maybe we want some oversight about how we practice the First Amendment. It's not unreasonable to want professional journalists. And that's what these organizations do. I just can't wake up tomorrow. And mind you, yes, it's not a constitutional right to sell real estate or practice law, but guess what, folks? I can't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to sell real estate. No, you have to get licensed. You want to practice law, you have to pass the bar exam. Okay? You want to teach, you have to get teaching certifications or certain undergraduate and graduate degrees. There has to be some oversight of that. You would think with the tens of thousands of dollars that Leonard Filipowski has been able to secure this year from people like Tony Hector and others, that you could at least afford $60 for press credentials. Never mind a new suit because, let's be honest, folks. This guy wears the same suit. If anything's ever smelled like pure ass, it's probably his attire. But the bottom line is, folks, is Leonard Filipowski is not a guy you want to be seen with or photographed with or videoed with. It's a bad look for Jack Chiarelli. And I love Jack, and I'm rooting for Jack. And I'm hoping Jack wins on November the 4th. So we can get New Jersey back on track here and make it more affordable. So we can stop with all the woke bullshit, and stop with the pronouns, and stop coddling illegals. That we get back to public safety and public order and focusing on property taxes and affordability. Not woke bullshit. Not identity politics and all the other nonsense that some on the left in Trenton have fixated on for years. But for Jack Chiarelli, choose your allies wisely. Because the last thing you should ever want is to be seen in public with Leonard Filipowski. The guy's a joke. He continues to be a joke. He's not a real credible journalist. He's a professional agitator. Folks, by now, we should know the difference. And that's what I'm thinking about right now. Now, some better news here. And once again, a thank you to John Hines, the editor of the Hudson County Review, for his reporting on this story. Hudson County Community College has achieved a 7.9% enrollment growth for the fall 2025 semester, reaching 8,211 students, the school's highest enrollment number since the fall of 2019. Now, according to HCCC Associate Vice President for Institutional Research, John Ergola, quote, "The numbers speak for themselves. Our analysis consistently shows the impact of summer enrollment on persistence, and this fall's re-enrollment growth is proof. By letting the data inform our strategy, we've been able to design initiatives that both boost enrollment and contribute to student outcomes. The college also reported that 7,013 full-time equivalent FTE students and an enrollment of 84,157 total credits, representing a 5% year-over increase, has become evident. Additional highlights of the fall 2025 enrollment period include a total of 5,344 continuing students, representing an increase of 10.8% from last fall. Meanwhile, continuing full-time enrollment is up 10.4% from fall 2024, while new student headcounts increased to 2,887, a 2.9 year-over-year increase. Now, this increased enrollment comes at a time when many colleges around the nation are contending with decreased enrollment for a variety of reasons, including demographic changes and concerns about cost and affordability. Well, folks, listen, this all starts with the excellent leadership at the top of the food chain. And that's my good friend, Dr. Chris Uribe, the distinguished president of Hudson County Community College. Now, I've had the privilege of interviewing Dr. Uribe on multiple occasions on my show, Real Talk with Fernando Uribe, which, by the way, folks, you can check out every Monday night via Jersey First TV. So always remember to check your local listings for start times. But Chris Uribe has a great team around him, of not just the Board of Trustees, but other administrators that have continued to make Hudson County Community College one of the better institutions of learning, not just at a community college level, but throughout all of New Jersey. So kudos to Hudson County Community College for their great work, for making sure that enrollment remains strong, and that academics remain a priority for this outstanding institution of learning here in Hudson County. So again, shout out to my good friend, Dr. Chris Uribe, and everyone over there at Hudson County Community College. Keep up the great work. And really, to be honest, I look forward to reporting on your continued success for years to come. Let's move into North Hudson here, and a special thank you to Jeff Henning from Hudson TV for his reporting on this very important story. Now, Hispanic cultures were celebrated this past week as the 50th annual Hispanic State Parade of New Jersey marched its way down Bergen Line Avenue from North Bergen, starting on 80th Street by James J. Braddock Park, all the way down to Celia Cruz Avenue on 43rd Street in Union City. And many groups and organizations took part in the gala festivities, including a procession of 25 floats. Wow, that's a lot of people. According to parade president Myra Dominguez, it was the largest number in the existence of the event. Now, many elected officials marched their way along Bergen Line Avenue, including New Jersey's Democrat and Republican gubernatorial nominees, U.S. Representative Rebecca Sherrill and former State Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli. The parade truly represents what Hudson County is all about, which is really many different Hispanic nations coming together as one to celebrate their cultures and customs. Participants and parade goers waved their homeland's flags, dressed in colorful attire, and enjoyed a wonderful afternoon under clear skies and a very unseasonably warm October temperature here in Hudson County. Now, folks, I didn't have a chance to attend. I was fortunate enough to take my dad and uncle to MetLife Stadium as my Dallas Cowboys were victorious against the New York Jets. So very unseasonably warm temperatures to catch an NFL game in early October. Now, I've caught these parades over the years, and folks, it's a great melting pot, and it's a great reminder about the diversity that we enjoy here in Hudson County. Sure, am I pissed off about the streets being blocked off and how long it takes to clean up and how it blocks traffic? Sure, I mean, I get tired of that bullshit too. But folks, make no mistake about it. It is certainly an event to witness in person. And without a doubt, you saw every elected official under the sun on this past weekend, certainly cooking themselves under the hot October sun, which is kind of uncharacteristic for this time of the year. Normally, it's fall already. We're anticipating maybe, 50, 60 degrees. No, folks, it was a nice, sunny 80 degrees this past weekend here in Hudson County. And certainly that didn't really discourage parade goers from just lining up the streets on Bergen Line Avenue and cheering on their favorites. Not just elected officials, which include State Senator Brian Stack, the distinguished Board of Commissioners here in Union City, Hudson County Executive and Democrat Party Chairman here in Hudson County, Craig Guy, as well as Hudson County Republican Chairman Jose Arango. As I mentioned before, both gubernatorial candidates, in addition to assembly candidates and other elected officials, which include U.S. Representative Ron Menendez, Weehawken Mayor Richard Turner, and of course, West New York Mayor Abby Osiris. Folks, it's a great event to be a part of. And yes, does it get a little tiresome with the street closures? Of course. But it's a small price to pay, folks, for a reminder of the great diversity that we get to enjoy every single day living here in Hudson County. Lastly, folks, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And as you all know, I'm a proud volunteer for the American Cancer Society and more specifically, the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer campaign. So mark on your calendars, folks, for Wednesday night, October the 15th, for the 2025 edition of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts, coming to you from the world-famous Waterside, located at 7800 River Road in North Bergen along the waterfront in northern Hudson County. Now, joining me, as you can see there on the flyer, folks, are my outstanding co-hosts, Vladimir Carrero, Sylvia Sapinska, Alexandra Hammer, and Jacqueline Rodriguez. There'll be wine and sangria specials throughout the evening, and folks, you don't want to miss it, incredible raffles available for everyone in attendance. Now, of course, got to buy raffle tickets. More tickets you buy, better your chances are to win one of our outstanding prizes during the evening. They include passes from Sojo Spa in Edgewater, as well as local restaurants, which include Blue on the Hudson in Weehawken, Ruma Cubana, which is scattered all around Hudson County in North Bergen, Guttenberg, Jersey City, Clifton, as well as Paramus. Also in Teaneck as well, folks. You also have great restaurants like La Sorrentina in North Bergen and Trattoria Napoli in Union City. You also have a month membership to Team 48 Jiu-Jitsu, my gym in West New York, which, by the way, folks, it'll make an incredible difference in your life. Not just with cardio, with getting better health, better fitness, better hand-eye coordination, better reflexes. Folks, Team 48 is definitely a great choice for you. In addition to Hand and Stone Spa in Edgewater and Gun for Hire in Woodland Park. Folks, there's no shortage of great prizes during the evening, and of course, all proceeds benefit the American Cancer Society. Now, let me just tell you, folks, since 2008, A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts has raised over $68,000 to benefit Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. And I've seen it firsthand, folks, in the way that they help out thousands of families every year here in New Jersey. And I've been able to volunteer my time very proudly to take chemo patients to therapy and just to spend time with families that are affected by breast cancer every single year. It's one of the most worthwhile things I do every single year, folks. So if you haven't even thought about volunteering, you should start now. It's fulfilling, it's therapeutic, and most importantly, folks, it's heartwarming because you get to meet a lot of great people. So once again, Wednesday night, October the 15th, join me and my outstanding co-hosts, Vladimir Carrero, Sylvia Sapinska, Jacqueline Rodriguez, and Alexandra Hammer for the 2025 edition of A Professor's Quest to Save Breasts. And together, we can defeat breast cancer once and for all. And that's our show for this week. Once again, folks, to check out all the excellent programming brought to you by the leader in independent media here in Hudson County, the Hudson Media Group. Make sure you subscribe to them on YouTube. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram and X. We'll continue to bring you outstanding programming every single week, folks, which includes Talking Politics with Fernando Uribe, Hudson County View Live every Wednesday with John R. Highness, Stick at Night with Hudson County Commissioner Anthony Romano, and of course, all the great news coming out of the Township of North Bergen, hosted by Greta Hernandez. Folks, there's a reason why people tune into us every single week. It's because we bring you responsible, informative, and educational programming every single day, courtesy of the Hudson Media Group. I couldn't be prouder to be associated with such an outstanding news organization, and it starts with its president and CEO, Patrick O'Melia. And folks, trust me, my job is a hell of a lot easier with the outstanding production staff that I work with every single week. So thank you to them, and thank you to all of you for tuning in every single week for Talking Politics here with the Hudson Media Group. Yes, folks, I am the generational talent in Garden State Media, and the hero you need right now more than ever, Fernando Uribe, saying, folks, so long, happy October. Again, let's keep raising awareness about breast cancer throughout the month of October. And folks, I'll see you all on Wednesday night, October the 15th at Waterside, located at 7800 River Road in North Bergen, starting at 7 p.m. and we'll party all night long for a very important cause. And together, we'll defeat breast cancer once and for all. Of course, I'll see you all next time here with the Hudson Media Group.